So the best way to find out how many Friday the 13th there are in a month is to make a calendar. But what we have to be careful with looking at is what day of the week the year starts on. So January 1st, what day that is. So that can throw off our entire calendar depending on what day we start on. So, and then you add leap years, but that's a whole other part. So the first thing I did was I made calendars for 7 years. So we said January 1st was on a Sunday, and that's this first 1A and 2A over here. And then we did that whole year based on that. And you see that there's a Friday the 13th in January, and then there's a Friday the 13th in October. And that's what we see. If we ignore the colors, that's for a different problem. And then we shift over to this year, and we have it January 1st on a Monday. We see an L1, L2. And you can scroll through and see that, okay, there's one in April and there's one in July, so there's two. And then if we keep going, we can do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then we'll start again with Sunday. What makes it interesting is when you add in the leap year. But all you have to do for that is find out when March would start based on a leap year. So we say that the year starts on a Sunday, but it's a leap year. So that means that there's 29 days in February. So then we find when the 29th is, and we find out that March 1st will be on a Thursday. And if we go up here, we can see, oh, okay, when this is when starts, when March starts on a Wednesday, so you can see in this column, when March starts on a Wednesday, then there'll be a Friday the 13th in October. So what we can say is, okay, if the year starts on a Sunday, and then March starts on a Thursday, so we already see that if January starts on our year starts on a Sunday, we already have one Friday the 13th that month. So there's one already. We'll type one right in there, and then we'll type in whatever we get in this next box. So we have one already. Then we got to find out which year March starts on a Thursday. So there's Wednesday. Oh, here we go. So when the year starts on a Monday, March 1st is on a Thursday. So then we can scroll down and say, okay, then there's April, and then there's July. Is that it? Okay, that's it. So we'll scroll back over to our leap year Sunday, and we'll add April and June, or July. But there are 2 months regardless. And then you'll find out that if you add 1 and 2 together, you obviously get 3. So then there's 3 months. You can make a big chart for it. Oh, not that one. Not that one. It's hard to see under here. Oh. We actually don't have it. The best way to solve this problem is by looking at what day of the week the year starts on. So January 1st, in order to find how many Friday the 13th there'll be in a given month, in a given year, calendar year. So the first thing we have to do is we have to look at 7 different calendars based on when the calendar year begins. So January 1st is on a Sunday, we'll say. Then there's going to be a Friday the 13th in January. There'll be a Friday the 13th in October. So then there's 2. Okay, and you go all the way through. So the next year you'll say, okay, January 1st is on a Monday. You'll see, okay, April and July have Friday the 13th. And that's it. We go down to December. And then if you go up to this calendar, which are all pre-made, I made them based on the calendar year, and you can scroll down. If January 1st is on a Tuesday, you see that there's a Friday the 13th in September and December. So you can go through Sunday to Saturday and find out when there are Friday the 13th in a given year. But what makes this tricky is when you add in a leap year, because leap years happen every 4 years. So the first thing you have to do is you have to create leap years based on when the year begins. So the year begins on Sunday, January 1st. You already know that there's one Friday the 13th in January. So then you have to look, okay, well, when does March start? Because we know that you have the 29th into February when there's a leap year. But March starts on a Thursday when there's a leap year and the year begins on a Sunday. Now, if we look up here, we already made 7 calendars based on when the year began. So when the year began on a Sunday, March began on a Wednesday. Alright, when did the year begin for March to begin on a Thursday? Well, we find that it was on a Monday. So what makes it kind of tricky and you need to make a chart for in order to kind of visually see it, I had to at least, was, okay, so you say, if we go over here to our leap year, based on a Sunday, okay, January 1st is on a Sunday. Okay, January is going to be a year with Friday the 13th. Okay, but then March starts on a Thursday. Well, we already made March to December on a different calendar, so like let's just go look at that. So remember, leap year Sunday, January already has it. So we have this 1 right here. So we already know that, okay? Because we already know that there's at least one Friday the 13th when it's a leap year and the year begins on a Sunday. So then if we go back up here where we saw when March started on a Thursday, okay, so you can see, so there's Thursday in O. Scroll down and see the March 1st. So if you keep going, you'll see, okay, April and July have a Friday the 13th, and then that's it. So then these are 2. So you can even write January here, and then you can write April/July, because those are, and then these 3 months, that means that there's 3 total. We'll even make that bigger. So that means there's 3 Friday the 13th when it's a leap year and it begins on a Sunday. And you keep going and you go through every leap year and every year based on when the year begins and if it's a leap year or not. And you get a chart. And you'll see, okay, so the year begins on a Sunday in a normal year. We have a January and October leap year. So then there's 2. There's 2 Friday. The January and October Friday the 13th, so there's 2. And on a Monday, there's an April and July when January 1st is on a Monday, so then we have 2. In certain months, like when the year begins on a Thursday, so January 1st is a Thursday, there's a February, March, and November Friday the 13th. Okay, things get kind of shaky when you see, okay, the year begins on a Sunday. Okay, that means March begins on a Thursday, which means when it's a leap year and it starts on a Sunday, January, April, and July are the 3 months with Friday the 13th.